Hey, everybody. I'm Chris Metzler here, one of the programmers with the Green Film Festival San Francisco. Thanks for joining us. As you know, we like to kind of choose some of the most interesting, thought provoking, and just cool films from around the world that deal with the environment and just the way we live our life here on the planet. You were lucky enough just to see the really great short doc, Paddle Travel Waters, and we have the director here, Rush Sturgis. Welcome, Rush.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Can you kind of give us a little bit of the kind of genesis of the idea for the film and how you kind of knew that you wanted to kind of pick up a camera and tell the story?
Yeah, so I was, fortunate to grow up in the Northern California area on the Cal Salmon River near the Klamath. And I kind of learned to kayak in that area. And growing up, grew up with a lot of other indigenous kids in the area, but kind of realized early on that there wasn't a lot of native folks going kayaking or doing really a lot of outdoor rec stuff in general. And so a few years ago, I met Paul Robert Wolf Wilson, who's my co-director on the film, who's indigenous Klamath Modoc, and we went on a river trip together, and kind of came up with this idea to try to get more kids out on the water in hardshell kayaks, and that was kind of like where it started initially. And we partnered with the nonprofit Rios to Rivers that was already doing this kind of work. And then that kind of blossomed into this bigger idea of what if we could train a group of kids in whitewater kayaking so that they could lead the first descent of the Klamath when the dams come out. So that's, more or less the condensed version of how it all kind of came together.
Listen, what were kind of some of the, unique challenges of kind of filming this sort of environment?
Yeah. So, I mean, for me, one thing I'm trying to be, conscious of is the fact that like this isn't really my story. I'm kind of really trying to be, act as a conduit, for Paul and for the other indigenous folks that we're working with on the film. This is really kind of their story. So for me personally, maybe that's been a challenge. Is just not trying to get in the way of that. Just kind of trying to let that story unfold in a natural way, in an authentic way. And then, outside of that, I'd say other challenges are just, this is like one of the cool parts of this story, I think, is that we're really trying to train this group of kids to be class 4 or 5 kayakers in a kind of a short amount of time. So the film that you just saw is really kind of the first, sort of couple of months of the program. That was now like a year ago. So we've done a bunch more programming since. We're actually about to send the same group of kids that you just watched to a full semester of high school where they're going to travel and train at kayaking. So it's kind of like it's kind of a kayak boot camp a little bit, I mean, it's an ambitious goal really in a short period of time to get these youths up to that level. So I think that's, just the actual kind of physical component of it is challenging, but they're doing awesome. They're really progressing super fast, and it's been fun to see.
Yeah. What's happened since, filming, and also what did they think about kind of seeing themselves on screen?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the youth are awesome. They're such a great group of kids, and one of the exciting parts of this whole program is that we also are teaching storytelling components to the kids. So they're now getting involved with the film as well. And in a perfect world, we'd love to see the final feature film really have a lot of involvement from the youth. So they're actually going to be taking a course this winter in filmmaking as well. So I mean, like what's happened since, like a lot. It's because the film you've just seen is now it was about a year ago that we did all that. So since then, we've done several more multi-day kayaking trips. We've also have a whole group of new students as well that we did programming with this summer. And then as well, we've started this Paddle Travel Waters Academy, which is its own high school, and the top 14 students are going to that. They'll go to Chile this winter where they'll do all their education overseas, and they'll also be kayaking every single day through the spring. As well, we've seen one of the dams come out already, with the next 3 scheduled to come out over the course of like from January through kind of fall of this next year. So
Oh, wow.
lots of moving parts, but it's exciting stuff.
Cool. And, I know you'd mentioned before that you did a lot of kind of outdoor water activities and things, before making this film. Did that also pertain to filmmaking too, or just, and what are kind of some of the just kind of storytelling approaches you do when you're kind of telling stories out on the water.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so yeah, my background is as a professional whitewater kayaker, which I still do professionally. But for as far as storytelling goes, I like to do stories that are human stories, meaningful. If you're interested, the feature I did before this is called The River Runner, which is available on Netflix, so you can check that out. But yeah, stories that dive a little deeper than just sort of the surface level action sports adrenaline. I mean, I as much as I love that, I like to get a little deeper, go below the surface a bit, so to speak. And that's my approach.
Very cool. Well, thanks again for making such a great film, Rush, and appreciate you sharing it with the festival.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all having us, and thank you.
Thanks.